Yes, it's done. Okay, so whenever that error is coming during the program running, so it's coming the errors, so we're going to handle this errors. Suppose now you did some 100 lines of code. In the code it is going to executing line by line. If it is coming any type of error, so if you are not going to handle that exception, it's going to program is completed error with warning and it is going to stop. So you can't it's not going to complete normal, or it's not complete that to complete remaining code, it will not going to check. So in that case you're going to put the exception handling things. Okay, so in we have two type of exceptions, system defined exceptions and user defined exceptions. System defined exceptions is provided by the Oracle. So the Oracle already they are going to create so many standard exceptions, so it will going to support it. And whenever it is user feels they need user defined exception, the programmer can going to define and going to use that user defined exception. So let's see here some of the exceptions. So already you know the syntax, that exception, and under the exception you will going to put it when exception, then exception and statements you can going to write it. So here we can see some just exception, when exception one, then exception handling statements you can going to put it. Now if you go down and see one of the example, any one of the example, simply whenever see what all standard exceptions is going to provided by the Oracle. That is you no need to do, simply just you will going to use it, that exceptions, how to handle the exceptions you can see now. So one of the example, whenever the data is not coming from the table, so at the time no data found record error will come. In SQL you are seen already, if no data is there, nothing will come by. So in
Mm-hmm.
the similar kind in PLSQL also you're going to yes, now you can see this example. Let's see this example now, how it will going to work. Okay, now you can see we have here one table, customers, customers. In the customers, we're going to see the data, whatever the data it is available. You can going to see the customers data. So only two records are there. So in the customers table, so in the two tables, you can see the customer ID is 1 and 2. Okay. So now the customer ID we are going to passing 8. Okay. So 8 now if I am going to running the code, what will happen? Now what will happen? Select name comma address comma this these two things is coming now. C underscore ID. We are passing the 8. So the 8 is not available in the data. So let's compile now. What is this error?
No
Now
data found.
correct. No data found error is coming. So you don't want to need the error while running the program itself, right? So now we are
Mm-hmm.
going to handling this exception on the exception section. So what we did, exception when no data found, then no such customer. Okay. If when others, then error. If it is first, it is going to checking this one. If this is going to true, the condition is false, I mean no data found, the data is coming, is there any other errors are coming, at that time it will go to no others exception, it will go. Let's execute this now. Yes, are you got any error now?
No.
No, no, right? So what is the output will come now?
No such customer.
Is it clear now? See, no such customer. The reason is whenever the data is not coming here, that is going to, it went to the exception. Exception is going to handling that error and it is printing this information. Understood? If it is now suppose I try to get some other errors, you can going to put it any other error is coming. Now suppose record 2 is there, then record 2 output will going to print it. Okay, let's go for another example. We'll understand a little bit more. Okay. Now rising exception, so you can going to use. So now, did you going to declare any exception here?
No.
Nothing. So that means standard exception we are going to using system provided system exceptions and the user exceptions. So system exception we are using. For system exception, you no need to declare and you no need to use that. Okay, simply just you can going to use it whatever the Oracle is provided here. Okay, now rise exception is nothing but exceptions raised by the database server automatically whenever there any internal database error or whatever it is, some more into that. At that time, you can going to declare that exception. You will going to use that exception where you want to use. Now, suppose from now no data found is system defined. Now, suppose in case of you want to raise the exception, understood in the specific area and specific condition level you want raise the exception, then you can going to use the raise exception. Raise exception is nothing but you can going to declare your exception name. So see exception name of the exception name and exception. So this is going to declared and then condition you are going to writing rise RAIS rise exception. Now the name of the exception you can going to put when exception name then your statements you're going to do. This is the way of your exception is going to declare. Okay, let's show you one example. You will understand it clearly. User defined exceptions means user is going to define the exceptions. PLSQL allows you to define own exceptions according to the your need of programming level. Okay,
What is
user
the
de
difference between user-defined exception and race exception?
user defined exception means so programmer will going to define the exceptions. So rise exception is nothing but one of the example in user defined exception.
Okay, in user-defined exceptions, raise exceptions will come. It's an
Yes,
example.
yes. Rise exception is nothing but you will going to using rise command, rise syntax, RAISC rise.
But that is also defined by the user, right? It's
Right.
not a predefined one.
It's not a predefined one, but rise exception is provided by the Oracle.
Oh,
The
raise
name is
exception.
going to the name you decide, but where you have to rise means how it will going to calling means Oracle is going to helping that one. And now you can see, now you're going to understand that this is called as a user-defined exception. So, okay, the user-defined exception, you will going to see how it is going. You should have to declare your own exception. Okay, now you can go and see that user-defined exceptions, and the user should have to define the exception. And then 1 second.
But when you were telling about,
Let's finish this, and you will understand. 1 second.
okay, sure.
Right. So now user defined exceptions, exception name of the exception, and then begin, then condition. So you can going to see this else select statement. Okay, let's see this now. Okay. Okay. No problem.
Else, here after else, select, it's divided.
Yeah, I am trying to.
Exception.
Customer name of the customer, and then let's see now. Yes, now formatted the code.
Okay.
Now you can see here that same example of the previous. Now it is going to user defined exception, the ex invalid ID. Invalid ID is the type is going to exception. So user has declared name of the exception here. Understood?
Mm-hmm.
Now you understood, right? Just name of the exception, just ex invalid ID, name of that type of the exception you mentioned, and then we're going to CID greater than 0. So now CID is going to passing a parameter. So now that ID is, if it is ID greater than 0 means, suppose you are passing ID below 0, either 0 or a negative value you are passing. Is it the correct way? No, right? ID should be going to numeric value and it should be positive values. Whenever you are going to passing, it's a 0 and negative values, it's not the proper format of the values, right? So at the time uh, name of the exception. Now rise of the exception, whatever it is going to be handling in exception section. Invalid ID. Invalid ID means ID must be greater than 0. Okay, if you are passing what is the ID that data is not going to, suppose this condition is fails. If it is the truth, then it will enter inside and raise exception. You are going to raise the exception directly. It will go to the exception section and it is checking that exception and it is going to printing that whatever related to the message. Okay. Now the condition is false, then it will go to else statement and it is executed the select statement. In the select statement, if the data is not coming, then it will go to print into the no data found exception. If it is not related to data issue, then if it is any other issue, then it will go to the others. Okay. So now are you understood?
A little bit.
No, where you are going to confusing? Tell me that. Now see, suppose asking this. Now I am going to passing -2. What will happen?
You'll get an error.
No, just I'm going to passing 0. What will happen now?
You'll get an error.
No, there is no error here. What error it is coming?
Invalid ID. X,
That is your
EX.
exception you are going to putting. Data issue, not the error.
No data found.
See, if I pass the 0, what will happen? Tell me. You are able to see the code also.
The ID must be greater than 0. It will come.
How it will come? What is the how the statement is going to executed?
Statement will be executed. ID must be greater than 0. It will come.
Correct, Manasa. How you are going to saying how the sequence of the statements is
Be-
going to executed?
Because when after running this PLSQL code, that 0, it asks if CID is greater than equal to 0, it's saying.
So what will happen if it
Then
is
raise,
right?
then raise X invalid ID. So
Hmm.
X invalid ID, it goes to directly your exception.
Hmm.
Then in that, when X invalid ID, when it will execute that, and
Hmm.
DBMS output, it will put print in ID must be greater than 0.
Correct. Okay. Now PLSQL procedure is successfully created. What is that? ID must be greater
Greater
than
than
0.
0.
Now you understood why user defined exception is required.
Mm-hmm.
Are you understood why user defined exceptions are required?
Yes,
So
I understood.
Oracle is not going to giving this type of errors to handle. So that is the reason user is going to declare a exception section and then he declared a exception variable and he is going to use the rise command. The rise wherever you want to rise, you can rise it. on
Okay.
which situation you want to raise, you can raise it, and you can going to handle the same into exception section. I hope you are clear now.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next example. So predefined exceptions. Predefined exceptions means the user Oracle provided exceptions here. Access into null and case not found or collection is null. These all are into Oracle provided standard exceptions and the standard error and error codes. So you can going to see here invalid cursor, invalid number, login denied, no data found, not logged on, program error. So these all are Oracle provided. So whenever it is depends on your code and depends on your requirement, you can going to use it. This predefined all the exceptions. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. Suppose you have two or three begin statements. What you will going to do? If you have select statement, suppose now only one select statement is there. The select statement, no data found, you are going to mention here. If you have one more select statement, what you will going to do? You
We'll
will
go
going
to
to,
that select statement.
madam, one select statement is there. In this one select statement, you are going to using exception. If you have one more begin and end in select statement is there, you can write it one more exception section. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many it is there, you can going to use that number of exceptions. So we'll see in PLSQL procedures packages level, that is okay. Exceptions, so you are using only one time, right? Suppose if you have multiple block of statements, now if I'm going to writing one more begin and end select statement is there, whenever you are going to using begin end, so it should be exception is required. So just you can going to keep on mind that is.
So how many ever exceptions begin and end statements? It's so many you can have
that
exceptions.
that
That's what
number of exceptions you can going to use it.
okay.
Right. So moving on to the cursors. So now the cursors concept is one of the major role in PLSQL. So okay, cursors is just it's a Oracle provided functionalities, and the cursor is going to holding the memory. So it's just a Oracle creates a memory area known as a context area. So the context area means the cursor is going to holding the memory. So you can going to keep on mind cursors are going to holding a memory. Okay. So what's the SQL processing and SQL statements which contains all the information needed for the processing the statement. For example, number of rows are processed, etc. So suppose now a cursor is a pointer to the context area. The PLSQL controls the context area through the cursor. So now you have a select statement. Once you ran the select statement, what will happen? You will going to see the data in the buffer memory. So the data that whatever the select statement given that state output, the output is going to hold the cursors, and it will going to release the memory based on the program execution. So that is the reason we are going to calling it as a memory area or a pointer. A cursor is a pointer to the context area. PLSQL control the context area through the cursor. So now whenever the program is going to running, suppose you are going to the cursor is going to open and fetching, at that time it is going to releasing the memory. You have two type of cursors. One is implicit cursor and another one is explicit cursor. Implicit cursor means it's going to implicitly automatically Oracle is going to provide it. So the cursor will going to open, close, declare, all things is going to taken care of the by Oracle standard functionality. Explicit cursors means you will going to manually you will going to declare the cursor, open the cursor, fetch the cursor, and close the cursor you will going to do. Now for implicit cursors you will going to use some of the attributes provided by the Oracle: percentage found, percentage not found, percentage is open, percentage, row count. These are the attributes it is going to provided by the Oracle for implicit cursors. Sir, what do you mean by this percentage found? Percentage found means whenever that any DML operation is going to be affected. So that means it is affected, then the cursor is going to found. If it is not affected, it is not found. If it is not found any operation on the DML statement, so percentage not found is true. Is open. If it is at least any one record is going to fetch the in the cursor level, percentage not is open, it is going to executed. Percentage row count. If at least any one record is coming from the self statement, the count is coming. Percentage row count is going to it's going to true. Sir, how we going to use these attributes in the implicit cursors? We'll see the example now. So here we can going to see some the implicit cursors. So just we are going to writing a update statement. So the update statement we will going to see any one of the example here. Just okay, you can see this example. So just update customers salary equal to salary plus 500. Is that the customers whatever it is? Now you can see. So salary is there. So in the salary, what I'm going to doing here, salary plus 500 we are doing. So there is no where condition for this update statement. Now I try to SQL percentage not found. If it is not found, no customer selected. If it is found, then it is going to customers are selected. Understood now how the percentage attributes are going to affected, implicit cursor attributes are going to affected. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yes, understood.
Right. See. Now, see, simply you are not going to, there is no cursor here. This is implicitly, internally, it is going to happen. Internally, it is going to happen. This is going to percentage found. Found, if it is any one record is updated, then the first statement, if it is not updated any record, then percentage not found is true. Then it is going to execute the no cursor, no customer selected. If it is found any at least one record is updated, then it will going to percentage found is going to true. Then it will coming into row. SQL
So,
percentage row count means the number of rows are updated. It will give the count and it will going to print that. Yes, please.
and so we have two rows. So when you run this program, the two rows will be updated. So
Mhm.
when that is updated, you'll get customer selected.
Correct, right? That is the what it is found, right? The update statement, at least one record is affected to update. That means it's found. Okay. Let's going to so it's going to updated. Now you can see two customers are selected.
Yes.
So how the two is coming?
Because two rows, because no where clause. We
Correct.
have two
Two
rows,
rows.
two
You
rows
know that, but how system is knowing that?
by percentage row count.
Right. Okay. So I hope you understood now. Okay. This is the way you can going to use the person attributes in the implicit cursors. Okay, now coming into the explicit cursors. Explicit cursors must and should you should have to declare the cursor. You should have to see the explicit cursors are the program defined cursors are for gaining more control over the context area. So explicit cursors is each and everything is done by the programmer. So however you want, you going to utilize it. This. So now you can going to what is the syntax for this cursor? Cursor name of the cursor is the select statement. Understood. The
Mm-hmm.
declaration is going to cursor. Cursor name of the cursor is the select statement. So declaring the cursor for initializing the memory. Once you declare the cursor means it's going to initialize the memory, and if you open the cursor means allocating the memory. Okay, fetching the cursor means is retrieving the data, and closing the cursor means it's release the all allocated memory to back to the system.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you declare the cursor, it's initialized. Whenever you open the cursor, it's going to allocating the memory. Whenever you fetch the data, so it's retrieving the data from the cursor. Once you close the cursor, it's going to release the memory back to the system. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did you going to declare your cursor? So, name of cursor name is select statement. Whatever the select statement you have, you can going to put it here in your select statement. Is a big SQL query or a small SQL query? Forget about the complexity of the SQL statement. Okay. Now the select statement, whatever the data is going to coming. Suppose select star from employee EMP table. So what is that EMP table? That select star from EMP table data. It's going to for that data, it is going to initializing the memory, allocating the memory, and it's retrieving the same information and release the memory. So that is the what it is going to help. Now you can going to see in the below cursor C underscore customers, name of the cursor. C underscore customers means it's the cursor name. So then is select statement. So select statement is done. Now next it is, let's see into one of the example. You will going to understand. It's very simple. So we are going to declare a one cursor. Sir, why do you want to declare the cursor in already you are going to using in select statement level? In begin and end you will going to use the select statements, right? Why do you want
Yeah.
to declare the cursor for this? Understood. Whatever the select statement is there, I can going to use it directly into my begin and end statement, right? Why you want to declare a cursor for this? So in the begin and end, if you are going to putting, whenever the select statement is going to execute it, at that time PLSQL engine is going to waiting for the SQL engine. Understood? So that means
Okay.
performance is going to increase, right? Once begin inside of the begin means PLSQL engine is going to executing and is alternatively it is going to connecting with the SQL engine and interacting with the always SQL engine. So now in this case, what will happen if you are going to declare a cursor? So the PLSQL engine is no need to wait for the SQL response. So the reason is cursor already interacted with the SQL and it is going to got the collected the data and it is going to holding C underscore customers here. Now cursor name is select statement. This is the cursor declaration. Now open the cursor here. Open keyword you can put and name of the cursor you can put and then next basic loop we written here fetch the cursor. Fetch means getting the data from the cursor into local variables. So c underscore id, c underscore name, c underscore ad is the local declared variables. In these variables you try to print that information and after that exit when cursor not found, you are putting this condition. So what will happen? Cursor percentage not found means whenever the no data is coming in the cursor name, so automatically condition is the true, then you will going to exit the loop. Once you exit the loop, you will going to close that cursor. That's enough. That's going to execute this statement. So it is going to complete it. Now we're going to see the output. So you can see one Kodeshwar, second RAM, second RAM. Now tell me, madam, what you understand, what is your question? So where you have any confusion in this cursor concept level here? Only small example.
No.
Okay. So you clear, right? So can you tell
Yes.
me how program is going to execute it here? First, where it is going to started?
In the select statement, the cursor one, it will start. You're opening the cursor.
Is it going
Like
to start the cursor directly execution?
in the begin and end.
Right. Always keep in mind any PLSQL program will going to start executing from the begin, not into declare. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Begin and it will start. You're opening that cursor which you
Right.
declared one.
Open the cursor means once you open the cursor, automatically system is going to checking is it that cursor is going to declared or not.
Mm-hmm. Then once checks, you're going to go into the loop.
Right.
and you're getting the customer details
Fetching the
like
data.
ID,
Okay.
fetching the data like
And
ID,
then,
name, and address.
right.
Then after one by one, it will get. Once all the data is being fetched,
Mm-hmm.
and when no data is there, you will
Mm-hmm.
exit the loop.
Right. And
The end
finally,
that not found, and finally the cursor will close.
right. Perfect. Okay, fine. So moving on to the next one. So these are this way you can going to use the cursors, and you have one more cursor concept is called as a parameterized cursors. Okay, parameterized cursor means you should have to use the cursor parameter for this. Okay, based on that parameter, it will going to open. Uh, we'll see that. See now, suppose parameterized cursor means see now. Let's put the things 1 second. Now this is the one. So now what will happen? Now parameterized cursor. So what we're going to do? You can declare in the similar way. Suppose now I want to put it c underscore id parameter. Okay. I want to pass a parameter. Okay. Now what we can going to do is where? Tell me, madam, where c underscore id. C,
Is
just
equal to
id equal to colon p underscore cid. Okay, cid. This is going to now. See now you are going to putting CAB underscore CID parameter. You should have to declare P underscore CID into the cursor name. So P underscore CID. CID. It's a number data type. So this is called as a parameterized cursor declaration.
why we do this for any specific reason. Parameterized cursor we do.
Correct. So now suppose you want to pass the value and you want to get the data based on that way, parameter. So now I don't want to execute the complete SQL statement. I want to execute into the based on the parameter output. Now you want to open the cursor. How did you going to open the cursor? Open
And
name,
cursor, name of the cursor. See customer.
right? And what about the parameter value? You should have to pass, right? Parameter is there, right? Suppose I'm going to passing 8.
Mhm.
Got it? So this is
Oh,
for
okay.
for fetching and closing is same as usual. For fetching
Okay.
also, how you will going to do fetch?
Fetch custom. See customer 8 you will put
No, no,
in
no.
bracket.
You no need wait. Already it is open. Fetch c underscore customers.
1 second. 1 second. Shreya, take him out. I didn't go out. No owning all that stuff. You're disturbing me. Close
Okay.
the door, Shreya. And close the puja room also. Yeah, sorry.
Right. So this is the way you can going to finish that. Just close.
So no need to put parameter in when you're doing fetch.
For fetching, why you want the parameter? Whatever the data is there in the cursor, it will going to fetch. For that, you no
Or
need any
then only that specific customer ID
open.
it will fetch.
Right. Perfect. So
Okay.
close the cursor. So this is the way it
A
will going to.
specific ID or specific parameter you want to use this parameter cursor.
Right. Perfect.
Okay.
So these are the cursors and exceptions. So any questions on both the concepts?
No.
Okay. I hope you understand today clearly.
Mhm. Yeah.
So these are going to, you will going to use it into now functions, packages, all concepts level will going to use these things. So next concept we're going to see the, you can going to start the named blocks. Okay. So let's move on to this. Now the records. So records is nothing but it is one of the major concept again. So you will going to declare your n number of data types. N number of data types means already you are seen percentage type, percentage row type, and numbers, varchar 2, and as well as date data types and all. So only the record type as of now you are seeing only percentage row type you are seeing, right? We have
Mm.
so many types are available: table based types, cursor based records, user defined records we have. Now table based records means this is going to why you want to create your first record. A record is the data structure that can be hold the data items or different kind of data. Now whenever you suppose now the employee record, you can take it, the employee record, the full employee record, it will going to, you can going to create a one record type and then you will going to utilize it. Table based records, you can see percentage row type attribute enables a programmer to create a table based cursor. Now see, now customer underscore rec customers percentage row type, the whole record type is going to created here. Already we have seen this example, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are seen right in the starting classes itself.
Yes.
Percentage row type we are using and we displayed this output also. Okay. Now cursor based records. So just now we are going to create a cursor, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
see the cursor name is self statement we are going to done. After that, in the name of the based on the cursor name, you will going to create your data type. See now,
Mm-hmm.
customer rec, customer underscore rec, customer underscore cursor percentage row type. Instead of how you are going to put in table name percentage row type, instead of table name you can going to write it into cursor. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Simple logic, madam. Previously we are going to putting table name percentage row type. Okay.
Yes.
Now
Uh-huh.
you are going to creating the cursor, right? So you can going to use it just cursor name percentage row type.
Okay.
Remaining everything is same. So whatever the cursor you are going to using, so for a declaration, see in my previous example what you did, you declared into three variables, yes or no?
Yes.
CID, CNAME, C address, three variables you declared. For this three, instead of three variables, what you can going to do?
The cursor you're going to declare.
Right, you can declare a cursor. See now in this example. So here you can going to see this. So now you can going to see here. So now you can see here. It's very simple. Okay. Just you are going to putting instead of n number of variables you are declaring. Instead of that, you will going to uh, write. So now you can going to try this. So you'll going to understand clearly. Right? Is it now? Now you can see and tell me, madam. So now see, this is your customer underscore cur is the your cursor name. Now customer underscore rec, customer underscore cur percentage row type. Now what you are, when you are fetching the data, you are fetching into that record type. Clear
Okay.
now?
Uh-huh.
Now while you are trying to printing the data, then you are going to put customer rec dot name, customer rec dot ID. That's enough.
So it will print the entire row, right? Then why are you putting a select ID, name, address only half row? If you have more columns which
You
you're not entering in?
see whatever the columns you are going to selected here. Now here I used address also, but I don't want to print address in the down. As your wish. If you want to print, you can print. Depends on the requirement. Otherwise, you no need to print.
Okay, but it all depends what you want, right?
Right.
You want Okay. But everything, all the 3 rows, it will fetch for default.
Right. If you are going to using in the select statement, it will fetch. See, in the
Okay.
select ID, comma, name, comma, address is there. Whatever you took there, it will come there. If you put star, it will
Okay,
come
but
every.
in case select statement, if you write only ID name and you are not taking address, but you are doing percentage row type, when you are
Only,
not
only,
putting,
only above what are the columns you selected, those only will come.
oh, okay, got you. But
See,
when we did row type, the whole row used to come in normal table type.
right. But coming into cursors, whatever the cursor level select statement is there, only that will pick.
Oh, okay, got you.
Okay, perfect. So moving on to the next record type. So
Then what is the use of putting this row type? We no need to put row type. We can directly put only the ID name, whatever
why,
we want.
madam? Say if you have 10 columns are there, 10 variables are you going to declare always?
No, but whatever you declare only is coming, right? Then why you have to put percentage row type?
Ayyo, Ram.
Already declared.
Where you declare? Show me the
Yeah, in the
local
declare
variable.
statement, select ID name, whatever you put, ID name if you put, and if you run it, ID name only is going to come. But you, why we have to put row type? Row type means the whole row will come, right?
Can you please compare this previous example and tell me? Understood first this example?
Yeah,
How many variables you declared?
3 variables.
Why you declared for 3 variables?
Because you're using in the select statement.
Right. Coming to the this way, this one next example. How many variables you declared?
Or you did not declare any.
Only single variable that is called as a cursor record type.
Oh, okay. Instead of for declaring purpose, you are using this.
Declaring and even you are going to fetching also. For fetching, see here instead of using 3, now how many lines code is increased? Here 3 lines are
Three.
coming, right? Yes or no?
Uh-huh.
Again,
Yes.
again it is going to your when you are fetching also again 3 variables you used. Okay. Again
Hmm.
you try
Yes.
to printing also 3 variables you put here, right?
Printing is our own purpose, right? Whatever you want to
Whatever it
print.
is, 3 variables you declare, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now coming into record type, what will happen? Single record is going to declared. You are
Oh, yeah.
fetching into single
So
record.
it reduce the number of syntax level. It will reduce.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
Understood.
hope you understand now. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
moving on to this is cursor based record types. So user defined records also you will going to use it. So this is going to you can going to create your own type. Type name is record. Under you will going to put it what are the columns you want. You can going to declare it.
Mm-hmm.
Your specific own data type records you will going to create it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now moving on to assigning fields. However you want, you can going to declare your own types. Okay. That
Can
is
we
your
stop for today?
yeah. I am almost done. Okay. Give me two.
Ajay is not there. I think he's cranky.
Okay. 2 more minutes. Okay. We're going to finish. So this is going to your user record types and subparameters. You can going to see here. So in this type name is record. Your what are the columns if you have, you will going to declare it your own type. This books is a one type you created. For this type you are going to submit it as a next type you will going to create it. Now book 1 is going to data type as a books. Book 2 also data type is a books. Under the books, what is the types are coming? Variables. Book title is coming, book author is coming, book subject is coming, book ID is coming. 4 columns you took it. Whenever you are trying to printing the data, you can going to book dot title, book dot author, book dot subjects, book dot book ID you're going to use. So this is user defined record types. You're going to see that. Okay. Yes. So that is finished. We'll going to start at the next session is functions.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
fine. All right, madam. We're going to conclude this call today. So we'll meet on tomorrow for this procedures, and I will try to share you